Sup guys, back with the cold steel Leatherneck, and today we are going to compare it to the K-Bar 1219, 1217, whatever it's called, the standard K-Bar. Let's start off with the sheath. Now I do have the slight suspicion that the cold steel Leatherneck sheath, although being very much better suited for modern environments than the leather sheath from K-Bar, does slightly dull our blade every time I take it in and out because the sheath does not fit the knife perfectly. So despite this having a more modular looping system, and you can take this off, and being plastic, which is also good for wet and cold conditions, I like the leather better because it fits the knife and it doesn't dull it down. It smells good, it wears great over the time. You can see this one is a really old sheath and it still holds up very, very nicely. And I also have the Kydex sheaths from K-Bar, and I think they're also better in quality than the Securex. Not because of the design. I think the design is great on the sheath, but the sheath does not fit the knife. K-Bar wins in terms of the sheath. For this test I sharpened both of these. The D2 takes about twice to 3 times as long as the 1095 to get sharp. Even though this one was already decently sharp out of box, it took me way longer than this one, which was completely dull. So there you can already see the differences in sharpening from 1095 to D2. Currently they should be about at the same level of sharpness. Same type of bottle with the K-Bar. So I went from left to right and then right to left, and now I will try to go horizontal, which is the most difficult way of cutting a bottle. Let's see if this works, starting off with the cold steel Leatherneck. That went extremely well. So both of these knives did extremely well during the bottle cutting. As a matter of fact, I think these were some of the best knives as of recently that I've tried on bottles. Even not just the diagonal, but also the horizontal cutting was pretty effortless. Now, the 1095 definitely felt sharper. I could immediately tell that. But here you are always a little bit unsure whether you have the edge perfectly aligned, because you do not feel if you're just a little bit off because of the roundness of the handle. And here you perfectly know if the cutting edge is orientated well because of these flat spots. But in terms of actual performance, I would say it's a draw. I think that both performed fantastically. K-Bar Leatherneck. K-Bar Leatherneck. I could not decide for a winner in this test, so I'm gonna use this very hard pine tree, which is equally thick on each side, and I'm gonna do 10 cuts on each side with each knife. Let's see how that goes. So I do like the flat ground blade on the K-bar better than the hollow grind. However, I will say that the choked up position that the K-bar has that the cold steel does not have does not make a whole lot of difference because the knife is not comfortable and not good in this position. I experience much more slipping in the handle, so it turns because of the roundness. This wider handle with the flat spots locks you in much nicer and feels more ergonomic because of the width. So handle-wise, I definitely prefer the Leatherneck. I think it cuts also better. The tip usage was definitely better on the Leatherneck than the K-bar. This wastes way more energy because the tip is higher up. So yeah, as a matter of fact, I think I will give it to the Leatherneck. All right, let's do some chopping now. We're gonna do 10 chops with each knife to see which one performs best. And yeah, start off with the Leatherneck. the last one count or not? Because it was already hitting the table. I don't know. Let's do that again. Alright, the battery just died, so I already chopped this piece once. Let's do it again. Alright. Do 10 more. Alright, I think that's pretty obvious here. The K-bar did chop better, despite the Leatherneck feeling more secure in hand. Because of that roundness and that rubberization, I think it feels better in this hot and humid conditions. But yeah, the K-bar clearly chopped a little bit better, I think. Now, I will give it the benefit of the doubt, so I'm gonna do that again. Let's do 20 chops with each knife, starting off with the Leatherneck. Hold on. I think I forgot how many chops these were. I have to count. So it turns out that I did 21 with the Leatherneck when I rewatched my footage, and I only did 19 with the K-bar. So we'll do 2 more with the K-bar knife to be at 21 chops with each knife. All right, let's have a look. So here in front we have the Leatherneck, and back here the K-bar. Quite honestly, it looks like the K-bar did chop a little bit better again. So the interesting thing here is that the K-bar weighs 50 grams less than the Leatherneck. So this is 10.5 ounces, 12.2 ounces. So you would think the bigger weight would make a difference in chopping. Oh wow. Wow. Huge difference. Alright, let's jump to a conclusion here. Well, I think the K-Bar definitely has the better sheath system. Both the leather and the Kydex sheaths that are available are better than the Securex, simply because the Securex sheaths do not fit the knives most of the times. I've had this issue too often with cold steel now, so I don't like the Securex sheaths, which also ties the price. The Leatherneck would be cheaper, but since you really have to invest in a sheath, it doesn't matter, they are equally priced then. In terms of bottle cuts, both of these performed exactly the same. Both of them had their strengths. The 1095 always feels sharper in general during the use, feels sharp and at a higher sharpness level, and gets there quicker. And the Leatherneck benefits from its ergonomic handle that locks you in quite nicely with that flat spots right here. So I do really like the handle ergonomically much more on the Leatherneck. I really didn't think I would ever say this, but this felt cheap in the beginning, and now I like it more than the stacked leather even, just because this one keeps turning in my hand. Now in terms of woodworking, I would say they're pretty much equal. This one is more ergonomic, and this one benefits from the flat ground blade. So I do like a flat ground 1095 a little bit more than a hollow ground D2. That's just me personally. Yeah, this one in terms of ergonomics wins for sure. In terms of general purpose, I felt like the K-Bar, because of the flat ground blade, did a little bit better. Not sure if that was because of the flat ground blade or because of the 1095, but it just felt nicer. It has a little bit more belly here, so that definitely helps it. In terms of edge retention, this one loses its edge way quicker though, for sure. So this one wins in that regards, and like I said, in sharpening, the 1095 sharpens quicker and easier though. In terms of chopping, I was very surprised that the lighter knife would win that contest. There is not really a length difference, so yeah, the K-Bar did perform better during chopping though. Again, that might be because of the flat ground blade. Now in terms of batoning, the Leatherneck definitely batoned better. Yeah, this one is just the better batoning knife. Now whether stick tang knife of a guard is the ultimate batoning knife, that's questionable in general, right? Arguably you want to have something bigger and thicker on the spine for batoning, so these are not meant for batoning really. So does it really matter if one wins over the other? I don't know. Yeah, ergonomically the Leatherneck definitely is the superior knife. Now I was going to do a third video, and in that third video I wanted to modify the Leatherneck and cut off the handle and make a new handle for it, but I'm not sure if I will do that now, because these ergonomics, they are fantastic. The rubberization has just enough give to it, the traction is good, there are no hot spots, and the flat spot right here is really fantastic as well. Definitely prefer this handle in use over the leather handle, visually speaking of course, and because of the smell, the beautiful leather smell. The K-Bar is much nicer. My pommel did loosen up just a little bit, but that already happened years ago. This is not from this particular testing, and it has stayed on there ever since. I'm not scared that this will come off, but you know, I have to mention it. This pommel is a little bit loose, but it has been like that for years and years, so you know, whatever. Maybe I can tighten it down with the pin, I don't know. So this one has no loosening in the pommel or in the guard or anything, so this guard way more resistant to bending. Yeah, one more thing, this one has the choked up position, the ricasso area that you can use for choking up, but it didn't really matter. In use, this is a really uncomfortable position to be in. You don't want to be choking up because your finger is already hitting the cutting material, so this position is way more comfortable, which is why I think it doesn't matter if the Leatherneck has that or not. Now I wish the cutting edge was further back for sure, but also for strength reason, that's also a good thing that it is not. I think the ideal knife here would be a combination of both of these, right? A flat ground knife with this rubberized handle. So maybe next time I buy a K-bar, I actually would choose the rubberized handle. I'm not sure, because I think that one is also thicker. But yeah, this flat spot really changes a lot, and that's also not present on the rubberized K-bar handle. So yeah, that's it for this video. I'm not sure what my conclusion here is. I like them both for different reasons. I don't really have a favorite. The K-bar just looks better, visually speaking. It has more of that vintage appeal to it. It's hard to beat the K-bar in terms of looks, I think, with the stacked leather handle and leather sheath and carbon blade. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and maybe see each other in another video. Goodbye.